What's the unique factor about Spectrum X?
We have the ability to head off what could be a very nasty pandemic in the future with respect to antimicrobial resistance. Governments around the world, and certainly the UK government, needs to be prepared rather than be reactive going forward. As we said, we've got a conservative market entry valuation of 50 million. We'll be looking to target somewhere between 600 and 800 million euros of revenue across those markets, treating a variety of respiratory infections.
Hey guys, Ben here and welcome to Motivation to Invest. Today we're joined by a very special guest. We've got Damien Hancox, the founder and CEO of Spectrum X. This is a healthcare company which is doing a pre-IPO offering on the London Stock Exchange. Now, Damien is a serial entrepreneur who specializes in identifying opportunities in emerging trends. And between 2001 and 2006, he built and sold a multi-million pound telecoms business. So Damien, it's great to have you here. How did you go from this multi-million pound telecoms business to co-founding this healthcare company? Tell us about your story.
Hi, Ben. Thank you very much for having me. So I was introduced to the opportunity for Spectrum X at the beginning of last year. Clearly, at that point in time, with the pandemic just taking grip, it was of extreme interest to find an antimicrobial substance with such wide-ranging potential. Something which got me really interested in the business to begin with is a bit of a personal issue for me. My father unfortunately passed away about 10 years ago from necrotizing fasciitis, which is a antimicrobial resistant form of bacteria. And so something which obviously drew my attention immediately was the possibility of developing a chemistry and a technology to avoid people ending up in the unfortunate position I was with my father, not just with necrotizing fasciitis, but things like MRSA, ESBL, things which are becoming a lot more common these days, whereas antibiotic resistance grows at an alarming rate. Obviously, we are still very much in the throes of the current pandemic, but we are very much of the belief, as are many government agencies around the world, that the next pandemic will be as a result of antimicrobial resistance of some description.
Bill Gates did the original talk about it, the TED talk, talking about we're not ready for a pandemic. The resistance to the antibiotics, that's been a real major issue in the healthcare industry.
It is, yeah. And currently there are very, very few antibiotics in development. From a big pharma point of view, there simply isn't commercially viable for them anymore to be spending millions and millions of dollars developing these antibiotics, only for a year or 2 years later for the target bacteria to become resistant to that antibiotic. Looming problem for the healthcare industry in general.
Let's unpack that business model. So I've read you've got a pharmaceutical side of the business, you've got a sanitization side of the business, and then you've got this patent for a formulation of hypochlorous acid, HOCL. So for the non-medical viewers watching, can you give an explanation of what's so special about the formulation you guys have got, and obviously generally about HOCL?
Absolutely. So, hypochlorous acid is more or less the reason that human beings are still alive. It's the backbone of the human immune system. So it's the chemical which your white blood cells release within the body to fight off pathogens. So without it, many more millions of people would have died across the span of time. The unique thing about the formulations that we work with is that we have an end product finished patent available. So in the same way that you can't patent water because it's naturally occurring, HOCL in its generic form is also naturally occurring and therefore unpatentable. So with our partners in the United States, they've been working for almost 30 years with the chemical formulation, and have now come up with various different unique patentable formats of the chemical, which obviously allows us the IP protection to invest in commercializing the various different formulations. As you mentioned, we've got a sanitization sector of the business. We've got an NHS approved hand sanitizer, which is already being used in 2 hospitals at the moment. That product is stronger and more effective than alcohol, but without any of the side effects. So things like the drying and damage to skin, potential problems with ingestion of alcohol sanitizer, especially in children. Also in children, we see a lot of cases of eye irritation and things like that. The use of hand sanitizers is here to stay, and we believe that alcohol should not be the go-to substance of use, given that our product is more efficacious and safer, in general. So that's one interesting aspect of the business. And then probably more interesting for your viewers is our unique inhalation respiratory infection treatment. So that is delivered via a nebulizer.
Yeah, and you've got one there.
Exactly. So essentially, I'm not sure if you can see that.
Yeah, we can see that. Perfect. Yeah.
What a nebulizer does is it vaporizes the liquid into very, very small micron droplets to allow it to reach the lower respiratory tract, which is where a lot of these infections are present. So we have two clinical trials starting imminently. One is against COVID-19 patients with the University of Innsbruck and the University of Vienna in Austria. And then we have a second trial, which will begin shortly with Chelsea and Westminster and West Middlesex hospitals, which is going to look at treating all other non-COVID respiratory infections. So pneumonia, influenza, bronchitis, things like this. And as I alluded to earlier, because of the positive non-selective mode of action of hypochlorous acid, and specifically our patented formulations, it will be effective against all different types of infection. So whatever it is which is causing the infection and the illness in the patient can be treated. And because we are a direct mode of action, i.e. you're breathing it in and it's physically attacking the bacteria, the virus on the lung tissue, as opposed to sort of an ingestible antiviral treatment, it's far more effective and far quicker to get to work.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So it's got a lot of potential major applications. Sounds like you guys are going to save us from the whole pandemic and many more to come.
Well, we would hope so, yeah. I mean, so the product can be used as a treatment, but it can also be used as a preventative. So, if the way you become infected is generally from a build-up of viral load. So if you're constantly, using the nebulizer on a daily basis, you're reducing your viral load to the point where it becomes far more unlikely that you're going to become infected or infectious. So yeah, it could have a key role to play in preventing the spread of infectious diseases, particularly respiratory infection.
Yeah, sounds fascinating. And with the hand sanitizer, I've got a lot of friends that work for the NHS. They're having major issues with the alcohol-based hand sanitizer, hand drying, a lot of dermatological issues.
Listen, for nurses, for doctors, for surgeons, their hands are the most important tools they have. So with the constant overexposure to alcohol that we've seen since the start of the pandemic, as you see, you're starting to see healthcare workers with psoriasis, eczema, all sorts of pretty nasty skin conditions, which are being caused by continual exposure to alcohol, which is just damaging the dermal layer of their skin. HOCL actually eradicates bacteria to allow skin to heal. So it's actually a healing product rather than a damaging product, which alcohol is.
Yeah, fascinating product with a lot of potential applications, massive healthcare market. Talk to us about this offering then. So you're doing is it pre-IPO offering, then you're doing an actual listing?
So we're planning the listing in Q4 this year.
This year? Yeah,
so we've had open total pre-IPO round of 8 million. We've filled roughly 6 million of that to date. And we'll be raising a yet to be confirmed amount at IPO. And then obviously we've got significant milestones we're looking to achieve with that trial data, which will allow us to make applications for emergency use authorizations to both MHRA in the UK and to EMA in Europe.
Okay, so what are your plans for raising this capital? Are you planning to roll out a variety of different products like the one you just showed me at scale?
Absolutely. So we are almost finished with phase one of the construction of our production unit in the northwest of the UK. That phase one will be for the production of our hand sanitizer. So previously we've been importing the product from our partner in California. So hopefully by week 1 of November, that production unit will be up and running, so we can start rolling out to a larger number of hospitals as well as schools, prisons. We have a very large target audience for the sanitizer. And then obviously, as soon as we receive our trial data back from both Austria and from Chelsea and Westminster, we'll be pushing ahead with putting in an MHRA approved production line in the northwest of the UK, so that we can supply all of the UK and initially Northern Europe with the product from here. And obviously that avoids any supply chain issues for the NHS and things like that. So we're very excited about the future to come.
Very exciting stuff. I noticed you had an estimated valuation for when you guys actually IPO of 50 million, and then also you said the pre-IPO offering is at a discount to that.
We're now in the final note stage, so we've had rounds open at 20% and then 15% discount.
Yeah.
So the final, given obviously we're getting closer to IPO, so the final series note, which is open as of now, is at a 10% discount to listing. Yeah, as we say, we've got a conservative market entry valuation of 50 million. If we look at our obtainable target market over the next 24 to 36 months, if we look at both the UK and the EU 27, where we hold the licenses for, we'll be looking to target somewhere between 600 and 800 million euros of revenue across those markets, treating a variety of respiratory infections.
It's a fascinating area. I think the market is incredible for it. I think the product's fantastic. I've actually seen the HOCL just in the base form. I think that's used in airlines currently to use the fog to disinfect planes, shall I say. Damien, do you have any final thoughts for the viewers watching about Spectrum X? What's the unique factor about Spectrum X?
We have the ability to head off what could be a very nasty pandemic in the future with respect to antimicrobial resistance. It's something which is becoming more and more in focus globally. And I really think that governments around the world, and certainly the UK government, needs to be prepared rather than be reactive going forward. So we very much hope to play a big part in that.
That's today's video, guys. If you do have any questions or thoughts for Damien, please do comment below. I'll leave details about the company below. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you all have an incredible day. I wish you luck in the markets and invest safe.